Hey everybody, we're back with the Beetle. I'm OK Fixer. I ordered some seat covers, but they have to be made. I didn't want black ones, I wanted specific ones, so you know, these things take time. And they're telling me 6 weeks. 6 weeks? What? Okay, yeah. So in the meantime, I did a little quickie on my wheels and put my hubcaps on, my dented hubcaps. So now I have slightly correct wheels and hubcaps. I don't know if those are original. I don't know how to tell. Does anybody know? It seems like one of them weighed a lot more than the rest of them, but I don't know. Okay, so don't know about that, but I might spring for a set of aftermarket hubcaps. It depends on the money. Alright, while I'm waiting on that, we have to take this down to the alignment shop and get it aligned. So I can't drive it because the last name I have will attract, and it does it just by having this name, will attract Officer O'Malley and the FBI, and this will end up in police impound, and they will, I don't know, drive it around a go-kart track or something like that, you know. So no, we're going to have to put this on a trailer and take it down there because I don't have insurance on it and I don't have my tags yet. And yeah, so anyways, but in order to put it on the trailer, we have to drive it onto the trailer. In order to drive it onto the trailer, we have to have something to sit on. So I thought I would start on a seat. And underneath the springs, there is kind of a cloth. I don't know how the originals were, but they sell a cloth-like material, burlap-like material that goes over the springs. And what I've done is around this little spring edge here, I've used a little urethane, and I'm going to, you could use whatever, however you want to do your seats is however you want to do your seats. This is just how I'm doing mine. So I run a little bead of glue around it and around the lip, kind of folded it over. I'm going to clamp it, Jed clamp it, that is, and then do the same thing on the front side, and then on the seat back itself. Also, there's a couple of cards that I had ordered for the back. I'm not quite sure how they go on, so yeah. And it looks like my my urethane springs and wire wrapped springs, I didn't weld them, because when you weld them, as soon as you touch it with a welder, it takes all the temper out of it and you can just go snap. Yeah, so I wrapped the spring with some wire and then I backed it with some urethane. So there you go. And the whole seat's been kind of sprayed with some matte clear. It's a little rusty, but I sprayed it with some matte clear to keep it from getting really rusty. So maybe that'll help, maybe it won't. Okay, so let's see if I can find the stuff. I bought it from this company, and here's a roll of it. So there you go. So let's get this all together and get it in the car, and I can drive it onto the trailer, and we can, if I can get a trailer, may have to work on that trailer a little bit, and get it down to the alignment shop and get it aligned. Have a nasty rainy morning. A friend of mine who runs a lawn service, of course, is not going to be doing any lawn servicing today, and he has a trailer. So we're going to do some musical cars, and I'm going to pull this thing out and put it on his trailer. It's not here yet, hopefully he gets here, but we have to move things all around. So pulling this out, I'm going to put the seat in it because I have the cover, or the kind of the backing to the springs on it, and this will be its maiden voyage as far as moving. I haven't really sat in it and moved it, so under its own power. So let's get that going. arranged around in this garage, and I pull my van in and then pull a Nissan up behind it, and then it'll give us a bigger room berth to back that trailer in.
Oh, okay. You can't drive it out to the street to go? Or you got to push it?
Oh, hell, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I can drive it out to the street. Sure.
What's the street?
Okay. Oh, let me lock things up. I'll be right with you. All right. Okay, we're on the trailer. Can you see anything? Oh, Lord. Well, it's one way or another. I'm telling you right now, if I didn't do this, I would get busted by the cops for driving this to the alignment place. So, yeah. Another thing I notice, my oil light comes on. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing I'm going to check connections and stuff. It comes on and goes out, comes on and goes out. I'm guessing it's a stuck pressure relief valve because this engine's been setting for a long time. So we'll have a look at that when we get all this done. So let's get to the tire alignment shop in one piece though. And of course I'm wearing my seat belt because you know you got to. All right.
Fill it up. There's about 2 gallons left in that tank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gas. Okay.
Yeah, I got to raise it up because it's gravity fed.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't flow very fast. I think if I raise it up to 6 inches.
Well, there it is amongst all the other cars. Look at how weird that thing is. Look at how that sticks out. Sticks out like a banana in an apple fruit bowl. Pretty cool though, isn't it? And
Anymore.
I'm at my secret weapon, Dave's. He's well versed with every car, so it's really cool that he can work on these. Okay, all right, I'm gonna get it aligned. Yay! While I'm waiting for my car to get aligned, I am working on my seat a little bit. I have my card in the back there. Essentially what you have to do is you remove these 2 screws and these 2 screws, and then the card fits in there and it kind of shoves down into the bottom here about a 1/4 of an inch or so, something like that. Maybe a little less, 3/16. I don't know, maybe it's just supposed to go in there that far, I don't know, but I've never done one of these before. The holes should line up with the back, and there was some fudging I had to do over here because I have this portion of the spring kind of welded to the frame because it's broken, and you know, it is fudged up quite a bit. The spring, you can't weld these springs because what will happen is they will crack. It will take the temper out of the spring. So I wrapped the spring together with wire, and then I just coated it with some urethane. It should last a good long time, actually. So it should be fine. The seat was in such a dilapidated shape. This portion right here, of course, is lower than this portion. It should go straight along the edge there and act as a backing for that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Possibly I might put a little more material over this, over the top. It depends on what kind of, what the seat covers look like and how they're going to fit on there and such like that. You know, it beggars and choosers, so you know, you got to do the best you can to do with what you have. The other seat's in a little bit better shape, the driver's side, so which is odd. So anyways, so we get that card in there, and then we're going to put some more material on this, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Probably they thought that one roll would do 2 seats, but it won't, because it's just too short. They should have made it thinner and longer, but they didn't. It is what it is. There's a lot left over that I can't really use unless you just do it like two strips or something like that, but I'm not going to do that. I've got plenty, so it's not a problem. Now, I have not separated the seat merely because separating the seats will make, 10 parts out of one, and I don't want that right now because I don't need it. I've got this flipped around and clamped up, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this right along the bottom here, so I will be able to roll it around the other side also. And I'm going to glue this on there, so you can use spray glue or whatever you want to do. I'm particular to urethane. I really like it. It works good. So we'll do that, and then of course we'll do the top. And it's a time-consuming thing because unless you have a bunch of clamps, and I don't, I have just a big array of clamps. Not a whole lot of anything, just vice grips and whatnot. So I can do like along the edge and then let it dry, and then sides or whatever. So you got to kind of work at it a little bit. It takes a little bit. Also, heat is your friend, especially on a 33-degree day. So I have it nice and warm in here. There are people out there that don't approve of my methods. Can you imagine? Now, that top spring right here, there's a piece of metal missing. And, you got to kind of work with what you got. So, hopefully, we'll see how the seat cover fits. Probably look terrible. Nah, it'll look fine. I know for a fact, though, you need something to cover these springs. And if you don't have something to cover these springs, your foam will suffer. So that's the idea, and then you're just going to kind of go along around it and make yourself a little, little padding. Now, when you're doing this, make sure that you don't pull this absolutely banjo string tight, so it's it's like this. So when you sit in it, it rips it off. You want to have that. Curve in there, and I put the it's got like a shiny side towards the springs. So, all right, let's do the rest of this. There's what she looks like after I got it all clamped down and it's dried. I have a whole other roll of this. I decided I would use every bit, so I did it in a 3-piece at the bottom, and I just kind of glued it together. And I won't tell if you won't. So there you go. And there you go. There's a back card, and that ought to protect the foam from the springs a little bit. We've got it's loose here, so we've got, when you sit down on it, it's not going to pull the sides up. So we've got pretty good there. And so of course gravity pulls this down, but it won't on the back. So there you go. That's as far as I can go until I get my seat covers. Like I said, I didn't take it apart because if you take it apart, well, then you got all these pieces. I'm not going to take it apart until I need to, so I take those out take it all apart, and we'll put the back on first, you know, and then the deal there. So that should be okay. I've also seen a deal where they put a piece of plastic over this as a moisture barrier. I don't know. I want it to breathe, I think. I don't want there to be a moisture barrier there. I want it to, I don't want any moisture this way or that way, so I'm not going to do anything like that. So that ought to do it. That ought to be okay. Okay. All right. Well, apparently it didn't really need any adjustments. I'll go in on that a little bit later. Now we got to put it on this little teeny trailer. Okay, let's get her done. All right, headed back home. Dave put this on the alignment rack, and he had to do one minor adjustment to a tie rod end, and that was it. So actually he said it was all in specs. He just wanted to put it as right as he could. So he made one little twist on a tie rod end. That being said, you know, when I put my front end together on this, I counted the threads that I unturned and turned it back in the exact same amount, and I worked one joint at a time. So yeah, there you go. It was pretty well spot on. As far as the adjustment like this, the little eccentrics, there was a little arrow that lined up with a little notch, and I just lined those up like they were originally, and everything was fine again. So okay, we'll get home here, hopefully. Okay, let's have a look at that oil light right there. Now I know I've got the generator light and the oil light running right. Okay, so you know, I mean, they're in the right place and they are lit up. The oil light's been staying on. Train for you. Let's have a start and see what happens. Okay, it went right out, but I'm still going to investigate this because I took it off the trailer and it was on. So I think I either have a bad sending unit, or the wire on it's not right, or I have a sticky valve, a sticky one of the pressure relief valves. This is a dual relief case, so it could be either or, is sticking. So let's investigate and see what we can get. See if I can get this to do that again. Curious. Yeah. Okay. Wouldn't blow before. I forgot it's on the fuse, and the fuse doesn't work unless the ignition's on. Okay. Let's see if that comes back on. Why do we still have all that pressure in there? Where's the light? There she is. I do have 1040, so it's a little heavy. Let's investigate. Boy, I really don't like this. I think we're going to put a new end on it. That's just hanging by a thread. So I'm going to put a new end on it. And what I'm going to do is, I've got another sending unit for it ordered. But I don't think that's the problem. I think what it is I have a sticky pressure relief valve. I'm going to put another end on this and put it on there, and I'm going to run it a few times and see if I can't get it to act up. If I can get it to do that, then I'll investigate the pressure relief valves if they're sticking. Could be unstuck. Don't know. So, but if the light ain't on, I'm not going to mess with it. So I'm going to put an end on there, and we'll put it back together. So I put another crimp connector on there, but that's not going to make any difference, okay? As far as the light is either going to be on or it's going to be off. And if the crimp connector was the problem, or that wire right there, and eventually it would fail because it was hanging by a thread, I just wanted to fix that. But that's not the cause of our problem. The cause of our problem is probably that sending unit or the pressure relief valve. Got plenty of oil in it in the oil pump. Yeah, you can't break an oil pump, okay? Well, you can, I guess. That'd be savage. So let's try this again. And like I said, that connection, that only gives you the light. That gives you the ground, which completes the circuit and gives you the light. I can feel air coming out of my dash because I have my heat on. That's so cool. I never had a car that had that stuff in it. That's awesome. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've got another sending unit for it, and I'll just hold on to it until it acts up again, and then I'll investigate it. What are you going to do? But even when the light was on, it wasn't knocking or anything like that, so, or the engine wasn't making any noise. So I'm thinking it's probably the pressure sending unit. You're pretty hard pressed to stick those valves in there, but I guess it's possible. But not probable. Okay, well, let me shut this off because I'm going to have to let this cool down. Alright, we're going to look at something else, and it was what Brian was trying to express, and I was not having any of it. So let me explain it to you. Okay, I wasn't having any of this because I had bought exhaust tips for my car, and I had gotten the correct length, okay, or the correct length. There are short ones and there are long ones. The short ones are for 68 and up, and the long ones are for 55 to 67. I think the difference is 265 millimeter versus 248, not a lot. But the 55 through 67 go into the exhaust less than the 68 and up, and you can use the book's measurements provided. And here's where he got me. Here's where he got me right here. Is I wasn't having any of this because, well, I bought the right exhaust tips, and I had them in there the correct length, and everything's good, right? Wrong, because of this paragraph. Unless you're using an original German muffler and original German tailpipes, the measurements don't work in the book. Okay, now I got interested. So now I understood what he was talking about. Okay, here's the deal. This is your preheat pipe that comes off your intake. So you have your carburetor, and the intake goes down to both cylinder heads. And underneath it is a preheat pipe, okay? And what that does is it helps to heat the mixture in the intake. You know, it warms the intake, and that way it vaporizes it. It burns more efficiently. Your spark plugs don't soot up, and your engine doesn't miss. It runs better. Your car runs better. The preheater pipe is it has a little flange, of course, in the intake bolts to it, but it goes into the exhaust, and the side on the left, or the driver's side, has a pipe that goes down inside, okay? And when you take the left tailpipe out, you can look in it, and you can see how far that pipe is. What you want to do is you take yourself a dowel and shove in that exhaust as far back as it'll go. You'll be able to see that pipe, and then measure the dowel, and then put that measurement on your pipe, and put that all the way down there. And now what this will do is this will create a low pressure. It'll create a low pressure in this pipe, and it'll cause a vacuum because you've got the exhaust gas going past it like this. It's going past it, and as it's going past it, it's causing a low pressure in this pipe, and pressure wants to equalize, so it draws from the other side. And so since it draws from the other side, it draws hot exhaust gas up through that and back down. And it circulates that through there, warming the exhaust. And hold on a second, I gotta answer this. Muffler 11,1111 on your AM radio dial. Go ahead, caller, you're on live. Go ahead, caller. Another scam. Anyways, okay, it causes low pressure in this pipe, and then it pulls the exhaust gas through the preheat pipe just below your intake, warms it all up. This is the reason why you see so many sooty or plugged up preheat pipes. People put headers and whatnot on their cars, and it does not preheat the charge. If you put the original muffler on there, or you could make one yourself, I guess. If you had an exhaust, you could stick a tube in there out the back side of the header or something like that, and I guess it could, you know, cause a pressure difference in there, and it would be able to. But you need something, and Volkswagen's already thought of it. So let's take this apart and see exactly where I'm at. And I bet you I'm wrong. I bet you I'm off on mine. But it's very important. It's a very important thing. I've never had a car with a unplugged pipe. They've all been sooted up, and the reason why is because no one puts the exhaust tips in the correct way. And it's such a little thing, but it's such a big thing. So let's get under the hood of that car, or I should say the deck lid of that car, or underneath the car. Pull that off in there, and try not to burn our hands. I have had it running, so should be cooled down enough though. And we'll pull it out, and we'll put this principle into action. Okay, I don't know if you can read that or not, but it says EAH Autobahn, made in West Germany, and then it says IV/82, so I'm thinking it's made in March of 1982. Incidentally, you know why that says West Germany? You got it, because at the time there was an East Germany. Okay, we're going to look inside this here, and I already know. And you see that pipe right there? You see how far back in there it was? Well, I didn't have my pipe back there far enough. So, what we have here is this is a later model muffler that's put on an earlier model car. And nobody cared about it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of rod, right, and we're going to jam it up in there and see where we're fitting. Ooh, right there. And there's the end of it right there, and it's hitting that tube, so we're good, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to mark this right chow. Okay. In order for it to get a low pressure inside that pipe, we're going to have the exhaust tip close to that, right up next to it. So as the exhaust is rushing out of the tip, it's pulling a vacuum in that little pipe. And of course, let me get up here and show you. Of course, the pipe is that right there, and it preheats the carburetor. So let's have a look at this. This is the amount that pipe needs to go in, and there's my original mark of 1.8 inches. So you can see that pipe's got to go in there twice what I had it. So we're going to transfer that mark right chaw. And I'm going to put both pipes in. I'm going to take the other one out and look and see if it has a tube there. It probably won't. I think there's only one on the left side, because that's all it needs is one on the left side. So we're going to put that back in there up to that mark. Make sense? This is the passenger side, and there is no such animal lurking about in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark. Sorry. On my pipe, the same as I made on the other one. And what we'll do is put that pipe in there the same length. And then they'll be the same. But that's what that one looks like, with it all in there the way it's supposed to be. It is indeed warm, so it is drawing. It's almost hot now. And this side is warm also, just a little bit warm, but not as hot as this. This you almost can't touch it now. So it does work. There you go. That's how that's done. That's a little better, huh? Okay. There you go. Thanks for hanging out in the garage with me. And thanks for learning something with me also. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.